At the first, I want to ask you our traditional question.
Okay.
Of course, no one forced you to accept Islam.
Of course.
We want you to tell us about the conversations you made with yourself, in your inner mirror, until you declared the Shahada. There is no God but Allah, and Muhammad is a messenger from Allah. We want you to tell us about your autobiography from the beginning. We are listening.
Well, this question is like you hit me with the sledgehammer right from the beginning, huh? Well, from the beginning, the best place to start, I guess, which most people find interesting, is a dream that actually I had as a very small child. A dream. When I was maybe 4 or 5 years old, I had a dream that there was a person, and I felt like he was a very holy person, sitting on a camel in the desert. And he had 3 or 4 of his followers around him, and he was talking to me. And I could never remember what he said. And I had this dream maybe 3 nights or 4 nights in a row. And woke up and, you know, I could never remember what he said, but I would always tell my mother about, you know, I saw this person in this dream, and, you know.
You made conversations with him?
Right, yeah, exactly. And so I guess you could say, since I was very young, what we would say, my spiritual eye was open. So I was always somebody who was very interested in religion from a very young age. And of course, I was raised in a Christian society, so I read the Bible, I believed in it, and found a lot of comfort, really, actually, reading it. But at the same time, you feel fear. You feel afraid that there's so many religions, how do I know that this is correct? So what I was searching for really was 2 things. I was searching for what we call yaqeen, certainty, as well as peace, and something that would make me feel really very calm, very, you know, at peace with myself and feel comfortable in what I believed. And so then I began to study all religions. I bought a book on world religions and read it, and really I was searching. And as part of my searching, part of my working out the issues I was having, I would actually, it's kind of a funny story, I would kind of play like a practical joke on people in my school. And I would tell them that I converted to any religion just to make a joke with them, and then after 2 weeks or 3 weeks I would tell them it was just a joke, and, you know, haha, I fooled you, you know. And so I had a friend that was kind of an accomplice in this, and he said to me one day, he said, why don't you become Muslim for a few weeks, you know, as a joke, this will be funny, you know, no one will believe that. And so I said, sure, why not, you know, I'll be Muslim. And you have to remember, at the same time I was searching for the truth, for yaqeen. And this was one of my ways of working this issue out. Because people would ask you questions, and you would have to find the answer. You know, they would say, oh, so you're a Hindu this week. Well, what do Hindus believe, you know? So that you would have to find it. And they did the same thing with Islam. So you're a Muslim, what do you believe, you know? So I would do the research, and when they would ask me the questions, and after about 2 weeks, I was convinced. It never got to the point where I told them, after 2 weeks, it never got to the point where I told them it was just a joke. You know, I was ready to become Muslim at that point. So.
I want to ask you one more question.
Okay.
In your opinion, what is the complete meaning of Islam?
Well, it's not just one thing, really. It's not one answer that I can give. It's something that it starts with a simple belief that you find is very encompassing, actually. It means a lot of things. For example, it's not uncommon to hear of any scholar who writes 20 pages just about Surat al-Ikhlas, you know, just 4 verses from Quran. But yet you find Surat al-Ikhlas is very simple in its meaning. But it's something that is simple, but it covers so many things. So Islam is something that it's very basic. It's applicable to anyone. Anyone can understand it. But it's also something that is very deep, something that's very heavy. and that can affect people on several different levels, whether we're speaking about mentally, psychologically, logically, rationally, or spiritually, in matters of the heart, and so on. So it's a very big religion, like an ocean.
What's your impressions when you are listening to Quran recited by others?
The Quran is something that I play it in my house constantly, because it's something that it's like a natural sedative. It makes you feel so calm, and it makes me feel very secure, and it has a purifying effect on the soul, which you can recognize immediately. It's something that no Muslim actually has an excuse to have a bad day or to have any bad feeling inside himself, because the Quran, you can listen to Quran or recite Quran and have that calming effect on your soul. Take that time out to remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and this is something that is very special. It's a very special thing about our religion. Alhamdulillah.
I want to ask you one more question. How could Quran help you seeking the right path?
Through its simplicity is one way. Through how simple the message actually is. The message of Tawheed is enough for anyone to grasp. But on the same time, at the same time, if someone is seeking something very profound, you have it through the study of the names of Allah, His attributes and His power, and all of these things, through the character of the Prophet ﷺ. So all of these things are there for anybody who seeks it. So it's an encompassing religion that's for everybody.
You want to reply?
Yeah. I will rephrase the question a little bit. Instead of saying what's the worst thing I see from Muslims, let's instead ask the question, what is something that, as an objective observer from perhaps another angle, because as a Muslim convert or revert, I see things differently than someone who's born in Islam. So let's ask instead, what's something that I feel from viewing it from my angle that Muslims need to work on? In my opinion, and Allahu Alam, but it's my opinion that Muslims need to work on beautifying their souls. This is something very important. Actually, a lot of Muslims forget that the first masjid in Islam was not the masjid in Medina. It was actually a very small masjid that if you saw it, you wouldn't recognize it. Because the first Muslims were not interested in having everything beautified on the outside. They were working very hard to beautify their inner soul, to purify their heart, and to make their inside beautiful. Because an inner change brings out outer results, and that's a fact. So this is the answer to the question from my angle, that we need to examine ourselves, and instead of asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when His justice or mercy will come, we have no right really to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala where is He, but He has every right to ask us where are we, where are you at? And this is something I've heard many Muslim scholars ask, and we need to pay attention to that question.
Jazakallahu khairan. In 1 minute, in your opinion, in what way you can serve Islam in the future?
By again, this is my opinion, but by working on myself, because I think it's very important that what we say in English, we say like begets like. In other words, as you are, that's what you will produce, and that's what you will attract. And so I think if we can work as Muslims, and me especially, can work on the nafs, work on the ego, and work on getting rid of anger and envy and all of these things, relying on other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If we can work on that and you change yourself, you will see that the people around you start to change, and you will see that circumstances start to change.